Hello, everyone. Sally here. Just a random hangout. Gonna read some stupid comments. This is gonna be awesome. Just trying to get set up. Sorry about that. So first off, let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here. Okay. Well, that was dumb. I just shared my hangout link. Hopefully nobody drops in on me. All right, so first off, the video I put out yesterday called me surprised I only have 4 thumbs down. Where are the flat earthers when you need them? I was definitely expecting some stupid comments on this video. But for the most part, flat earthers didn't show up. There's a couple comments in here somewhere. Can't remember exactly. But figured I would do a day of ignored by flat earth and look at my spam folder on YouTube. Do some stuff like that. Check out some stupid comments because they do make them. But what I wanted to do at the very beginning here is kind of put a call out for the reoccurring comments that I see over and over again. And I'm going to start off by listing a few and my thoughts on each of these comments. But what I really want from you guys is like, give me other like really simple comments that they repeat over and over again and get corrected on over and over again. And that way we can kind of put together like an index video. And so whenever people make these stupid comments, we can just link the video over and over again instead of having to constantly repeat ourselves. So one of the things that flat earthers always say is that the observations that are showing curvature must be due to refraction, which is completely absurd. I mean, all these comments are, but standard refraction causes light to bend downward, which means the apparent position of the subject or whatever you're looking at is going to be higher. So in fact, what it actually does is it takes the curve and it straightens it out. So when you have conditions with a consistent temperature gradient, meaning what is normally expected of the temperature gradient, which is cooler, not temperature gradient, I meant pressure gradient. In conditions with consistent pressure gradient, what you have is less dense air up above going all the way down to the ground where you have more dense air. And in those situations, you're going to get typical refraction, which is going to make the light bend down towards the more dense air, and the appearance of the object in the distance is going to be higher. So that actually works against them. The other thing to bring up there is that atmospheric conditions are not consistent at all, right? That the visible curvature of Earth is consistent in all sorts of atmospheric conditions. I've basically photographed the observations that I like to make that are close to my home year round. I've been in every single season now, and we're starting on year 2 basically of that. So I'm going to have summer observations, fall, winter, and eventually spring observations. And we'll see curvature in each one of those observations, and it'll only get better and better. The observations will get clearer and clearer. I'm planning on getting a microphone for my P1000. My audio was terrible yesterday. I know it was. I was just holding the camera in my hand, and the wind was just terrible, and I was chewing gum at one point. That was stupid. So definitely want to get the audio better, but I do have this tendency to put the observations out in the most unaltered form possible. Basically, the only thing I ever do whenever I put out the original observations is maybe some color correction, just automatic color correction in iMovie, and that's about it. And I might try and adjust the sound here and there just so it doesn't blow people's eardrums out. Okay, so the next thing that flat earthers like to talk about is magnification, atmospheric magnification. This is something that was kind of popularized by, what's his name, Rob Skiba, and then Jaron kind of latched on that as well. My observations that I've made, I've actually shown that I don't have any magnification. And the thought that we even have atmospheric magnification is another absurd idea. maybe that's possible in some rare situations. I don't see how it could be possible because you're talking about forming a lens out of the atmosphere. I don't think that really happens, to be honest. But if it does, perhaps we can ask some astronomers when they use atmospheric magnification so they can see further. That'd be interesting, huh? The next thing they always say is perspective. They say perspective causes, things to sink. Well, that's not perspective. Whatever they're talking about is some fictional concept, which we have termed flurspective. But perspective causes the angular dimensions of an object to decrease with respect to distance. That means all of the angles, right? So vertically, horizontally, any type of angular dimension is going to decrease with distance, and they're all going to decrease equally. Now, when you take refraction into account, the vertical dimension gets squished a little bit. And that's obvious with the sunset, right? You can see that in the sunset, that the vertical dimension gets squished a little bit near the horizon. But there is no, sinking due to perspective. That literally makes no sense whatsoever. Sinking can occur due to atmospheric conditions, not due to perspective. Another really silly thing that they say is that down is south. Okay, I'm actually going to share my screen on this one for a second. Show you this this globe that I have here. Let's see. Screen share. Not screen share, video share. All right, there we go. Okay, so here's a globe, right? And this is how we're used to seeing it, right? The northern hemisphere is up top, or what we call top, and the southern hemisphere is down bottom. But this is completely arbitrary, right? When we're talking about space, how we orient the globe, it doesn't matter. I mean, we could talk about the globe being this way. This is completely acceptable. This could be a completely acceptable version of the globe right here. Just turn it completely upside down. The way some flat earthers think is, well, if the globe was like this, then all of the water would rush to the northern hemisphere. Well, down is not south and down is not north. Okay. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. Down is into the globe, going in the globe. I mean, grown adults know this, right? Like, this is actually also an acceptable way to view the globe from space. Down is still towards the center of this ball right here. Okay, that's down. So anybody that says the water should rush to the bottom, guys, that is the most moronic thing that anybody could say. Why would you ever think that? It's like a child concept right there. What are you, 5? Wow, it's really amazing, actually. All right, so back to this. If you zoom in, you will see less obstruction. Okay, this idea literally makes no sense. I mean, here's an example right here. Actually, I could show the original video, but maybe I can screw up through this good enough. I mean, here's an example right here of where I'm zooming in. Let me get a little bit closer to it. Here's an example where I'm zooming in. Oh, stupid. Get away, ads. Here's an example where I zoom in and no amount of obstruction is revealed, right? It's the same amount of obstruction, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, it really makes there is no basis whatsoever to think that zooming in can somehow change light that left 24 miles away to alter its path in the past. Okay, that makes no sense whatsoever. Like that's essentially what they're claiming, is that somehow this lens has the technology to alter light path in the past. Sorry, guys, that's completely absurd. But they say it over and over again. So these are types of things that I'm trying to capture, right? These types of really silly and absurd things that they say over and over again. I'd like to make a video indexing each of them, explaining why they're stupid, and then just put it out there as an index that anybody can just link to. And so instead of us responding over and over with the same exact stuff over and over, wasting our time, we could just link them to this video and they could just have all their answers. The next thing that they always say is, what is the physical barrier that separates space from the atmosphere? That's the latest thing they've been talking about. Well, it depends on what you mean by physical. I mean, flirts like to conflate their words all the time. But if you mean something that's made of mass, well, there is no physical barrier. There's no mass-based object out there that's actually containing the atmosphere. There's no reason to think that there would. This is they play on this misconception that vacuums suck. Vacuums don't suck. That's not how vacuums work. Vacuums create a void of lower air pressure, and the atmosphere forces itself into that void. That's how it works. The atmosphere pushes. So whenever you look at our atmosphere, right, it starts off very dense close to the surface, and it becomes less and less dense as you get higher and higher and higher, until you go from one atmosphere to practically zero atmospheres. I mean, there is some pressure still in the higher levels of the atmosphere, but it's so small, basically zero. But basically go from one atmosphere to practically zero atmospheres all the way into space. And that gradient means that there is no pressure. There is no pressure that's pushing into the void. It doesn't make any sense. And grown adults should understand that. Like, you shouldn't have to explain that to them. And then the last thing on my list that they say over and over again is, how come, with all these satellites up there, how come they don't crash into each other? How come they can't see each other? This is a really simple one to explain for anybody that's willing to think with their brain. And that is, what about airplanes? How many airplanes are in the air at any given moment? At some point, I saw an estimate of like 10,000 airplanes around the globe. Yet there are times when you're in an airplane and you don't see any other airplanes until you get closer to an airport, right? Because there's so much space to work with. Things get so far away from you that your angular resolution can't resolve them. And all those planes navigate the air perfectly fine. Why wouldn't satellites be able to navigate an even larger sphere, a much larger sphere than even the sphere of our atmosphere? It just makes absolutely no sense. This is going back to flat earthers just not being able to understand scale, or actually probably more likely flat earthers that take advantage of people that can't understand scale. And that's what they're really doing, right? These gurus are just trying to con people so they can make money off of them. Okay, so let's get to ignored by flat earth. Let me look at the chat real quick, see if anybody's even here. Let's see. Hi, Nana, or Nana, or not applicable. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Morning Factard. Got to get that dual monitor. I do have a dual monitor set up, Jared. I just was stupid at the very beginning. Just ignore what? Where's Red when you need him? Yeah, he would be a good person to read these comments. Blah, blah, blah. Soundly. Soundly Roundly. What? Oh. Okay. Flat Out, $2. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. I did go look at Flat Out's channel after I went and subbed to Flat Out's channel after my last hangout, and people were telling me, I really need to go check his channel out. So I did. So everybody go check out Flat Out's channel. Perspective and electromagnetism. Oh yeah, that's another. I forgot about. You know what I forgot about? It was electrolysis. Do you guys remember that from like a year ago? Oh my gosh. $10 from not applicable, not applicable. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Can't stupid, please. Nah, will do. Thanks. Okay, I think that's Nana. Nene? I don't know. I think it's Nana. Okay. Uh, Hi, John. How are you doing? John, have I not been getting notifications from your channel, or have you just not been doing observations? Let's see. Oh, some debate going on there. Might be working. There might be some stupid comments in there. Looking at hi, Fact Art. Lewis, what's up? Oh, just Sean is listening but working. Working on a Sunday, Sean. Gosh, that sucks. But thanks for stopping by, Sean. Appreciate it. I figure we'll probably be doing a hangout soon, huh, Sean? With you and your channel. You need to debate flat out, Soundly. Sly is scared. I think that'd be hilarious, actually. I've posted dozens of things since I saw a comment from you. Take a gander when you have time. Yeah, I will, John. YouTube's weird with their whole like suggestions and notifications and stuff. I don't get it, to be honest. I have to go through my subscriptions once in a while and just see what I've missed. It's kind of bizarre. Soundly, will you touch the 10K baller challenge judged by Eric Duguay? I mean, no. Why would I? I mean, it's not really a baller challenge. He might name it that, but what it is a moron challenge. It's anybody that gets baited into that is stupid. And I'm not being, yeah, I guess that's kind of insulting, but it really is. It's stupid if you actually try and submit anything to that. If you look at all the ground rules and who's going to be judging it, it's not a baller challenge. What it is a way for Eric Dubé to, further convince his already convinced audience that the Earth is flat, because he's going to, claim that the evidence doesn't support it. Of course he will, and he'll just say nope, and all of his sheep will just believe it. So of course it's stupid. Why would I even get involved in that? The Athens lives in Monroe. Hey, I went to school in Monroe. Awesome. Yeah, 4 hours drive is a pain. Yeah, I agree with that. You'd have to take a little mini vacation there, Athens. Jose's listening. Hey, Jose, thanks for stopping by, man. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's see. Gio, what's up, buddy? If anybody wants to hop in here, just send me a message on Hangouts. I'll be happy to give you a link. Actually, I'll just go ahead and share a link if anybody wants to jump in. I'm just kind of shooting the breeze right now. Don't have any real agenda other than I would like people to give me like stupid things flat to say, like the things that are so obvious that is so just silly that they say them, so that I can eventually like compile it into a video. I think that would be great for us because we can just link them to the video over and over again. LGBT bathroom. Hey, Soundle T. I don't know who that is, but I think you're talking to me. All right. Actually, I'll drop this Hangout link into our little chat that we have on Hangouts if anybody wants to join. But I'm just going to be talking a lot about these stupid comments. All right, ignored by Flat Earth. Haven't looked at this in a while. Asked people to mark different channels and stuff with ignored by flat Earth. I need to turn these notifications off. And let's see what we got here. Wade's Underworld says, my sunrise. Why do I see the sun following a different path to the flat Earth model? Exactly. Yes. Flat maps always distort the globe. That is true. And actually, somebody brought up a very good comment, which is that the equator, if you're on the equator, then the equator on a flat map should curve, right? So depending on which direction you're facing, if you're facing east, then the equator should curve to the left. If you're facing west, then the equator should curve to the right. So flat earthers, where's the curve? Show us the curve on the equator. And this actually works for any great circle, really. Show us a great circle route. Now, the what's this called again? The azimuthal equidistant maps, right, are specifically designed so that from the center point, the great circles will be straight lines. But find any great circle that starts, like, let's say at one of the tropics, right? Show me a great circle that starts at one of the tropics and goes, not towards the center, but towards like the west or towards the east, right? Show me one of those great circles, and I'll have the same question for you. Show us the curve. You should be able to, with the P1000, zoom in on objects placed on a great circle route and show us it curving, because on your map, on any of these flat maps, those great circle routes curve. They're not straight. So show us the curve, flat earthers. Come on. Why haven't you shown us the curve? Shown us the curve. My daughter has been speaking with a British accent lately. She tends to think that people from the UK are smarter. So she's planning on going to London one day. So she's been practicing her accent. And the funny thing is, like, oh God, I better never show her one of these Anthony Rokeley videos. that might alter her mind a little bit. Hey, Jesse, what's going on, man?
It's just a rainy day here in New Jersey.
I'm reading some ignored by flat Earth comments here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed yesterday. Let's see if I can present to everybody here. Let's see. There we go. Yesterday, I was kind of disappointed. Everything. I actually had Kaiser Cube lend me his telescope mount, his equatorial telescope mount. So I was hoping to do some Equinox observations, and man, it was just nothing but cloudy and hazy, or just overcast, really. Actually, it wasn't too bad hazy wise. It was just overcast.
Yeah, but it turned out to be really good conditions for what you did on the lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah, I got to take the P1000 for a test drive. That was fun. I would like to go to, now that I have this P1000, I would like to go to the Mississippi River in Baton Rouge right there. There's a stretch right there where you can see for a fairly large distance. So I wanted to catch some stuff there. They have on the northern side of Baton Rouge is Southern University, and have these giant bluffs. So could make for some really cool observations there. I've been meaning to do that. And they also have oil rigs that are not oil rigs, but oil tankers that are always, navigating down the Mississippi River right there. So that would be a really cool thing for boats over the horizon, I think. So we'll have to arrange some time to go out there and check that out. So let's see what our next ignored by flat Earth is.
Yeah, I'll just put my seat.
You'll find the sky is 360 degrees in every direction, or a full sphere around the Earth, not a hemisphere, according to the flat Earth model. And that is ignored by flat Earth. Yeah, the stars is a persistent problem for flat earthers. They can't answer that. They never will be able to answer that because, again, you can't map a sphere to a hemisphere, right? Not without distortion. Let's see.
you want to stop and look at some plans on the way down?
Is it on the way or the way back?
Where do you want to go?
Yeah, there's been this kind of trend in the last couple of weeks where flat earthers are blocking everybody on Twitter, or at least everybody that I normally interact with on Twitter. It seems like everybody's getting blocked. And there's so many flat earthers doing it. It makes you wonder if there's like some smoky back room where all the flat earthers got together and decided to block everybody. So he showed, this guy Simon Green showed proof that the horizon does drop, offered experiments, and he ended up getting blocked for his efforts. How odd. What fantasy football? What does that have to do with getting advertisements in my search?
Hey, Soundly.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of these videos? I know Jaron has done it, Skiba, Mark Sargent, others, where they take that formula, 8 inches times the mile squared, and they develop a false, what's like a straw man. They say, if you go for 1 mile, there's 8 inches. And then when you go there, you go another 8 inches. And, they like stack them up.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But here's the thing that they're leaving out is that, hold on a second. Can you put on the defroster? I can't. So the thing they're leaving out is that when you go that first mile and it drops 8 inches, now if you go to that next spot, it's 8 inches from there. But guess what? From what? And this is the thing I keep stressing to everybody is that you have to establish that geometry, the horizontal plane. And what they'll find out is that the horizontal plane at the first point you were located is not parallel to the horizontal plane at the next place you go. They are inclined to one another. And that's the thing that is so easily measured. And that's the thing they ignore. They ignore that entirely. And I have right now I'm going to do a reconnaissance of a stretch of road where I'm going to test out this this whole idea that this guy Ray Goodwin is putting out there, his challenge to go 2,500 feet and then go another 2,500 feet. And he wants to do this for 60 miles down in South Carolina along the beach near Myrtle Beach.
I think we lost you.
Stay tuned for my next video.
Yeah, I mean, you've already shown observations over like very short distances. The one of my favorites is the one you did over that lake, like little small lake, almost like a pond that you did. That's maybe a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, because the first one I did was 1 mile on a highway, and everyone commented, "Oh no, you have to do that over water." So I went and did it over water. And the interesting thing is the pictures I took through the telescope definitely show the target below the horizontal by about 8 inches. I mean, obviously, in a mile with a telescope, with a surveying telescope, it's nowhere near a P900 or anything like that. But, it's definitely below the horizontal plane. And, and then when you go to the other side of the lake and you look back, that target's 8 inches below. Well, what's it telling you is that those two horizontal planes are tangent at the location where you're making that measurement. So, fun stuff. But again, if you're talking about things being ignored, that is absolutely ignored.
Oh yeah, they ignore that you can actually measure it in very short distances. Yeah, they ignore that all the time.
Oh yeah, and those are 1 mile examples. Then I'm going to be meeting up with a guy probably this fall who does these same observations. He's a geodetic surveyor. Like, he's been into it way longer than me, and I'm learning a lot from him. But he and I are going to do reciprocal observations together over like probably a 20-mile stretch. And we'll make a video of that. So that is going to be cool. And then, like you said, I've done a bunch of them where just in several hundred meters, in 500 feet, 1,000 feet, you can easily measure this tilt, especially with modern, very precise equipment. So, hey, I don't mean to jump in and steal your whole show here, but
No worries.
That's like I said, I'm going to go do some reconnaissance on a stretch of road where I could probably get at least a mile worth of these 2,500 foot segments. So I'll have 4 segments. And have you seen the guy in Australia? His name, I think he goes by Critical Think. He's put out he put out $100,000 reward, which trumps. I mean, I think his was 200,000, and then somebody matched it, so it's up to like $400,000 for any flat earther to, prove the Earth is flat. So I think Ray Goodwin should keep his 100,000 and go try to win that 400,000. But my next video is going to show him that you don't have to go 60 miles. I'll show it to you in your first 2,500 foot segment. You're going to measure the difference in latitude between those 2 points, and that's why I'm going to go on a stretch of road that is really, really close to north and south. So,
yeah,
the difference in latitude between the 2 endpoints is what you'll measure with the theodolite in the tilt. So that's just how it works.
Yeah. That's the thing is like what you're putting out there is stuff that you've been doing is for like what, a year and a half now. It seems like that you've been putting out these measurements and stuff.
I think I jumped into this in 2015 is when I
2015. Holy cow! Well, I started watching your stuff about a year and a half ago, probably.
Okay.
And so here's the thing: is you do all these measurements. They can't even grasp what you're doing. That's the type of people we're talking about. It's like, hey, the horizon does drop here. I'll measure it. I'll show you. And they're like, oh no, that's Masonic stuff that you're working with there. So it can't be true, And I'm like, oh god, dude. Like, did your uncle a telescope?
Did your uncle just walk in the room? That was your uncle, right? Talking, but you're right, exactly. And it's and the thing is, they constantly confuse calculating with measuring, and the fact is that these are measurements, and if you measure it here or there or anywhere else, you'll keep seeing the same thing, but it gets dismissed. This time, I really want to push it and press it for them to give the answer. Because what happened originally was Jaron and all these guys came forward with, oh no, that's perspective.
Right.
So that was their first attempt.
Right.
So, and this is, it contradicts their own thing, which is that the horizon always rises to eye level, except that perspective makes things drop down. So, you've got the battle.
Always rises to eye level.
So you got the battle between it rises to eye level, except the perspective pushes it back down. So which is it?
Exactly. It depends on who they're talking to at the moment and what's convenient for them.
Right. And now what I want to do next with the next video is simply this. Okay, Chris Van Matrie. Okay, Ray, you guys are surveyors. So make these same measurements. And by the way, they'll measure exactly the same thing. Go ahead and try it. It'll only take you an hour or two. It's not like you have to go on some excursion to measure 60 miles on Myrtle Beach.
Right.
Just take an afternoon and measure 2,500 feet from both directions.
Yep.
Set up in the middle and measure halfway. You're going to see the same consistent amount of curvature. Okay, what's the explanation?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, if it's not perspective, because it isn't, we already understand that perspective just has to do with what things appear to be in size, as you look at them off in the distance. So anyway, that's what I want to see happen next is, okay, you guys, they're the only 2 surveyors I know of. If anybody else knows of other surveyors who are calling themselves surveyors, and Chris Van Matrie is actually signed on to the FE Corps. He's one of their members. Apparently, he's their representative surveyor. But I want to know if there are others. Those are the only two that I know of. If there are others out there, I think they all have to answer the same question. When you measure this tilt on a line of even 1,000 feet with a 1 arcsecond theodolite, what causes that? How does that fit your so-called flat Earth model? That's my question.
Well, the thing that they do is they don't provide a model, right? They don't actually provide a legit model. We're still working on it. So they don't have anything to test, right? So whatever observations they make, they find a way to shoehorn it into a flat surface. You know, and of course, it doesn't make sense what they say, but they come up with some explanation, perspective or refraction or magnification or something, you know?
Exactly, yep.
So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They haven't addressed this one yet, and it's the tilt. It's not so much, I have shown a lot of photography or pictures taken through the telescope, which I don't consider that to be a measurement. It's just, set the telescope at 90 degrees or use an auto level that is already projecting a horizontal tangent to your location, and you take a picture. And that's just for people to look at and notice that, hey, that building 30 miles away appears to be dropping. So that's not a measurement, it's really just a picture. But I want to really move it toward the conversation of literally making these measurements, and please explain why this tilt is there, even in 500 feet. I've measured it in 200 feet.
Yeah.
It's small.
I think you brought this up before, though, Jesse, is that a photograph can be used for measurements. It's called photogrammetry, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Photogrammetry, yeah, based on photography, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, you can use these photographs for measurements. The problem is that these photographs give them real hard time, and so they like to say that you can't. Well, this isn't a measurement. Go out and do measurements. And I'm like, well, the measurements are right there. I mean, just go and analyze the photograph. But then we did that anyway. We brought you out. You came out. You brought yourself out, I should say. You came out and you took measurements of Pontchartrain, and there you go. Here's the measurements. Here's I've triangulated this corner of the roof to be 380 something. I think 300. I can't remember exactly what you said. 387 feet up, and yet there's still 200 feet missing. Where is it? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I just saw a mention. Oh, Conspiracy Cats is in the chat. Hey, Conspiracy Cats, thanks for stopping by, man. Love your work. So yeah, I mean, we do measure it. That's the thing, it seems like I get new flat earthers that show up in the chat because they always make the same thing. This is just one observation, dude. Have you seen the channel? You might want to go look at the channel.
You must be new here.
Yeah. Why would you go look at the channel if you think I've only made one observation? I've made hundreds. Like I literally have. I was looking at the other day, Jesse. I literally have over 1,000 now, like thousands of photographs and videos of either the transmission lines, the causeway, or Little Tensas Bayou. Like it's in the thousands now. So I mean, it's ridiculous to think that there's only been one observation. So
yeah,
and then we have go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that you and I have talked about this before, and that when I jumped into this, and I think when you jumped into it, it was to help people see and provide information. Like I thought, oh, well, they haven't seen this. Let me just show them some of these measurements, and then you find out quickly that the measurements don't matter, and they've arrived and they've made their conclusions without any evidence at all. So trying to bring evidence to it, they're not going to look at it, or when they do, they have reasons. They do come up with reasons to hold on to what they've already decided is their truth, that the Earth is flat. But it's really odd.
Yeah.
I really still believe that some of these gurus who monetize their channels for the flat Earth side of it, they don't believe the Earth is flat, but they sure do have a loyal following. Yeah, that's what I think. But anyway, measurements don't even matter to them because they don't make measurements anyway. So anything you do contrary to the flat Earth is obviously must be wrong somehow, some way.
Yeah, it's the way I like to think about it is, I bring this back to the days when my younger days, whenever I was going to a Southern Baptist church, and just seeing the behaviors of people, because I was always critically minded and questioning things. Why that particular church that I went to had a problem with black people, and I was like appalled by that. Whenever I became like old enough to become aware of what was going on, and I was appalled by that, and I was like, why is this okay? Why is the congregation not questioning like what's going on here? Why, what's going on? And I think it just comes down to that certain people put their trust in certain other people, and that's it. Like they really do become like sheeple,
Yeah.
And it takes a massive undertaking to like wake people up from that and get them to think for themselves. I got out of there, but it doesn't mean other people did. And that type of thinking is what happens, I think, with flat Earth. You have these gurus that are very good at talking, and they're very good at making stringing words, nonsensical words together in something that sounds smart. And these other less intelligent people just believe whatever they say. They believe the conclusions, and it's really a hard battle to fight. That's why I think what we're doing with the observations, right? I mean, making verbal arguments is good for some people, but the observations have to stand on their own. And I think that making those observations will convince more people than having debates and arguing with them.
Oh, that's true. I think you're right. And I think just providing the information and putting it out there, that's all you can do. Each individual, it really depends on their state of mind at the time. If they're curious, they heard of flat Earth, they're wondering about it, you might reach them because they're going to look at what you're putting out there, and they still have the ability to say, aha, or, ah. And
right.
They can weigh, they may look at the flat Earth response to what you're presenting, and they still have the ability to kind of, weigh which one makes more sense. I think a lot of folks they're really a lost cause, and they don't even have that ability anymore because they are devoted to it from almost like a religious point of view. There's like this guy who calls himself, I think, Zoom Truth. He stands out on the New Jersey boardwalk preaching flat Earth, like with a sign. Have you seen that guy? Any of his videos?
I have not seen that, but I think the street evangelism is just wrong.
He's the first one that I've seen doing that. Hey, Sean.
I'm just going to say, hey!
What's up, Sean?
Not, I just got off work, clocked out, ready to have all kinds of fun.
Chris,
got a question for you, Jeff.
Go ahead.
This guy, Zoom Truth, he's going up into New York City. He's just going all around to places, standing there. And just the couple of little snippets that I've caught, he's still preaching the same incorrect information about the 8 inches times the mile squared, and he confuses it with the calculation to calculate the obscured distance over the horizon. They're constantly, it's like old school flat Earth, man. Get your game up here, like you're still preaching that. It's just so weird.
Got a question for you, Jesse.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the size of an angle and angular size?
Sounds to me like you're just reversing the order of the words. Maybe. I try.
One's supposed to be a measurement, the other is supposed to be a sum. You didn't know that?
No, it didn't. Hey, I'm always willing to learn something new every day, right? So
Yeah, you won't learn anything with that line of thought, man.
Okay. I think you're, yeah, the guys you go to battle with, I don't really pay much attention to them. The Nathans and the Ranties and all those guys. Is that where this stuff comes from?
Oh, that's from the good old Lily Mouth himself.
Okay. I mean, I just try to help people understand that if I set up my theodolite 50 feet away from a telephone pole, I can measure the angle that telephone pole is subtending. And if I go 500 feet away, the angle will be smaller. If I go a mile away, I doubt I can measure anymore the angle of the width of that telephone pole, because at that point it becomes almost like a line. But I could measure the angle between two telephone poles. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it works, depending upon your proximity to what it is you're measuring. It only makes sense the further away you go, the smaller the angle will be. I guess
Well, let me ask it this way,
the
Jesse.
angular size. Is that what that is?
Let me ask it this way.
Okay.
Do you need any other information other than your scope itself to figure out the angular size of an object?
Well, I can literally measure it. That would be one way to determine the angular size. The other way would be that if I knew the dimension of the object, like say a telephone pole is roughly about maybe a foot in diameter, or whatever the dimension is of the object, a building or something, and then if I know how far away I am from that, I can calculate what the angle would be, and then it'd probably be a good idea to check it, measure it, and see if the two correspond.
For some simple backstory, this was an argument between Geo and Anthony about angular size and how you can't get an angular size without knowing the distance or the actual size of the object from Anthony's point of view. When Geo says angular size is literally just a measurement of how much of an angle it takes up in your field of view.
Exactly. I mean, you could take your telescope out, or theodolite, not to be more precise about terminology. Yeah, it's a telescope, but it's a theodolite. Therefore, it has an angle encoder or graduated circles. I can take it outside and measure the angular size of the moon. And, it's going to be a consistent value, night after night. More or less. Yeah, more or less.
Oh, do I got everything I need from the store? Yes. Sorry, I was shopping and talking at the same time. Shame on me, I know. So how you doing, Sonley?
Sweet. All right, I got Conspiracy Cats on Discord now. So I'll shoot him a link if he wants to jump in here.
I'm going to have to jump off, guys. When I saw you come on, Sally, I wanted to jump in. So have a good afternoon, guys. I got to start paying attention to where I'm supposed to be going here.
Talk
to you again soon.
Good. Thanks for stopping by, Jesse.
Later, Jesse.
Take care. See you guys.
All right, I'm going to shoot Conspiracy Cats this link real quick. See if he wants to join.
That'd be kind of cool.
If you want to join Conspiracy Cats, no obligation. Just figured I'd shoot you that if you want to jump in. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of go back to these stupid comments. Let's see if I can find some more. I have some ignore by Earth marks here. Let's see. Posted this video several times in the past. Not a single flat Earth response. September Equinox. Oh man, anything to do with the Equinox is like kryptonite for flat Earth. Oh, they can't answer any of those questions.
Of course not.
Sean, let me ask you this. How is it that it's still a thing? I mean, when we have every 6 months, we have an equinox that just completely obliterates, all right, completely obliterates flat Earth. How is it still a thing? Why is it still around?
Because you have Phuket Word just asserting that it works without showing how it works. He attempted to show it once with a ceiling fan, realized it debunked his own claim, and never spoke of it again.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like what do you do, right? What do you do?
Well, it just goes to show that, you know, even when they don't believe their own crap, the lemmings will still believe it. And I might lose you for a second or two while I switch over from Wi-Fi to LTE.
No worries. Okay. Oh, this is one I marked. Oh, yeah. This is another one. This is a good example. You know, flat earthers always link silly memes like this. Like, you know, they show this density-based sorting and say, oh, this is how, you know, this is how down works. You know, this is what the reason that things go down. It's because of density-based sorting. Well,
there's a problem with that, though. If it was density-based sorting, everything would move towards the less dense medium.
Right. Which means the ground should be moving up, right?
Yes.
The ground should be switching places with the sky, right?
If I let go of my phone right now, because it's denser than the air, it's going to follow the path of least resistance, which is the less dense air above it. It should be falling upwards.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I said. I said, how come this doesn't work on parabolic flights? And the whole conversation, I can't remember. I actually asked this question in another place. And the person ended up saying, well, whenever you're in a parabolic flight, it's 0G.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wait. So density-based sorting is based on gravity then? Oh, man. Yeah, that's the whole thing. If you're in a parabolic flight, right, you still have higher density next to lower density, and it's all moving relative to itself. So those things should still sort in a parabolic flight, but they don't, right? They don't sort themselves, which means that there has to be some force that provides a preferential direction. That's why, you know, we have what are those devices that they use in Chem Lab to separate out the different density items where they
centrifuge.
Yeah, centrifuge, right, exactly. So we have these centrifuges that provide a preferential force, and that's how they separate these different, I don't know what it is, molecules, I guess, or different substances. They separate these different substances based on density so they can like basically filter out a certain particular substance that they're going for.
Yep.
You have to have a force. You know, you have to have a force that provides some preferential direction. On Earth, it's gravity, and then of course you can use a centrifuge to do it as well. All right, let's see what else. Somebody marked one of my GIFs, one of my drone GIFs, as ignored by flat Earth. Yep, those get ignored. Or they talk about perspective or perspective or magnification or something like that.
Speaking of drone footage that's getting ignored, mine and Red's drone footage showing Earth curvature left to right when we actually compress the image.
Yeah.
That's being ignored. The only time it was addressed once was by Arwen, saying that it's a fisheye lens.
Fisheye lens, yes, exactly.
On a Mavic Pro, there is no barrel distortion.
They don't get it. They don't know what what's the word I'm looking for, Sean? When a lens keeps straight lines straight.
Do what?
When a lens keeps straight lines straight, what's that called? There's a word for it.
Rectilinear.
Rectilinear, yeah. They don't know what rectilinear means.
Nope.
What's this one ignored by flat Earth? Let's see. Daily tide charts for the U.S. and Canada. This is ignored by flat Earth. This is probably a whole long conversation that went behind this. This conversation has too many replies to show them all. Too bad. Yet another flat Earth through blocks. So yeah, they always block, man. They will block you on Twitter in a heartbeat these days. I don't know what it is. It's like they've recently just decided to, like, all these different flat earthers just started blocking everybody I was talking to them. And that kind of brings up the question, is there all these flat earthers? Am I actually talking to a bunch of different flat earthers, or am I actually talking to like one guy that has 15 accounts? You never know.
Honestly, you never know.
I know.
Oh, I mean, I always take it for granted that every individual is a different person, or every account is a different person, until, you know, they start showing speech patterns that point them out that they might be the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I always run under the assumption that every account is somebody else.
I would have to say that you're pretty credible when it comes to speech patterns, as you identified Sleeping Warrior almost instantly whenever he first came out.
Yeah, just from him making comments, I identified him like right away.
Yeah. Oh, that's him. All right. He who shall not be named. Kesey is great on Twitter. If you guys haven't subscribed or followed her on Twitter, you should. She's a school teacher, and she's always posting really cool stuff, like cool ideas and stuff. But she has these observations of Toronto from, I think she's looking from, look, this says from Hamilton, Ontario. Here you go. But she has these observations that are awesome. You know, same type of observation that I have of New Orleans, except Toronto has like way more dense cityscape packed in together. So it's just really obvious, the obstruction. It's pretty awesome. You ought to go check out her shots. I ought to get her on here one time and have her share her pictures with us, because they're awesome, really awesome pictures.
Yeah.
And let's see, who else is ignoring? Keep deflecting and lying to yourself. What is this one? Oh, crepuscular rays.
Oh yeah, I get that one ignored a lot too.
I just yesterday, whenever I was doing my observations, I got some crepuscular rays where on the right side of my observation, which was the end of the causeway on the North Shore, the crepuscular rays were, of course, you know, looking to the right of the frame, and then on the left side where New Orleans was, the crepuscular rays were pointing to the left of the frame. And it's like, okay, these two locations are basically on the same longitude, so they have to have the same exact time, and they do. They're only 24 miles away from each other, yet based on flat Earth mentality, it's morning in one place and it's evening in the other place. It makes no sense, you know.
That actually gave me an idea when I saw that. You remember my aunt's house, right?
Yeah.
You remember the mountains that are off to the west?
Yes, the ones where you got shadows coming over the top of them?
Yep. I'm hoping at some point, if I'm ever down there again, to catch crepuscular rays at near sunset, to where the crepuscular rays are actually coming over the mountains and then lighting up ground closer than the mountains.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Just to show that it is all about perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It is perspective. That's what's ironic, right? Is that they use perspective to try and explain why things sink in the distance. But then whenever you actually talk about perspective, how it's properly used, they totally botch it. They have no idea what perspective is. This actually reminds me of Kaiser Cube's video. Kaiser Cube just did a video. Did you see that video?
I'm actually not subscribed to Kaiser. I don't know why. I should have been months ago or years ago, but I just never got around to looking at his channel.
Let me see. Let's see if I can find him real quick. Let's try and find his video. He just did a video. He just did a video. Unfortunately, it's in like portrait mode, but it's of crepuscular rays. Here it is. Crepuscular to anti-crepuscular. Dude, the contrast is amazing, and it goes from crepuscular all the way across the sky to anti-crepuscular on the other side. And it's a really cool observation, man.
Hey, don't knock my drone footage.
Your drone footage is great. No, it's still one of the best, John.
And I can change the levels in post to show the contrast a little better in the video instead rather than screenshots. But if I have to do that, damn it, to beat out Kaiser, I'll do it.
It's a competition. It's on, man.
Oh, you just triggered me on Kaiser if he's watching. You watch out, buddy. I'm changing the color level of my video just to bring that contrast up.
I think he even actually mentioned you here. Let's see. You said something about it. He might have said it in the audio. I think he did. He said something. He mentioned you in the audio. He was like, Sean, eat your heart out.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see who eats whose heart out, bitch. Sorry, Soundly.
It's all right.
It's on now.
It's all right.
Oh, by the way, Soundly, I can hear myself coaching you in the background.
You hear an echo right now? Do you?
Yeah. I got an echo for me.
Why? I have headphones on. This doesn't make sense.
I'm just talking really loud, and you got your volume up really loud on the headset.
Yeah. I'll try and turn it down a little bit. There we go.
You deaf bastard.
I do like listening to stuff loud. I am kind of deaf, I guess. I don't have eagle ears like you.
See, now you're actually going to go back to the Hangout after it's uploaded or finished out rendering and check to see if I was actually echoing back, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm sure you are. I don't have to do that. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's see if anybody's chatting with us.
I would check, but I can't because I'm still on my phone. Yeah, I just got home.
Requiem just asked if we did Equinox videos. So Requiem, unfortunately, I mentioned this yesterday. My sky was just overcast. I just had no chance of doing anything.
With my work hours, it's really not possible since I go to work way before the sun sets, and I got to go to or sun comes up and it sets way before or way after I go to bed. So I blame work for that one. If it falls on a Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday night, that would be great, but it doesn't. So I get screwed.
Yeah, sometimes real life gets in the way, right, Sean?
So the last 5 or 6 equinoxes, I got screwed out by cloud cover. This year it was just because of work schedule. Because I had plans for putting up the Walkera and the Mavic up on this one. Yeah,
I wanted to put the Walkera up again. I did it did it in the spring equinox, and it turned out to be a really cool observation. But there wasn't wasn't a lot of hay made out over it. So I thought I might try and do it again. But unfortunately, it just had bad skies yesterday.
Yeah. But I'm going to drop out for a bit while I switch over the computer and let that boot up because now I'm inside the house and I'll probably lose you on LTE. So
sounds good.
Go running, I'll be back.
Sounds good, man. All right, so let's get back to these comments, actually. Let's see. Soundly doesn't prove anything in his videos other than how you can manipulate your own video to fit your narrative. That's it. That's completely absurd. Anybody that's seen my channel knows that I've done live streams, and I will be doing live streams again with my P1000. Now that I have the P1000 that has HDMI out, man, that's going to be great because I'll be able to do live streams a lot easier now. Beforehand, and I'll be able to show zoom in and out during the live stream. Beforehand, the only way I could do a live stream was with one of the cameras I had attached to my telescope. And so, when you're attached to the fixed lens, I can't zoom in and out. And, people wanted me to zoom in and out. I couldn't because I couldn't zoom on the telescope. But with the P1000, I'll be able to zoom in and out on the live stream. I'll be able to take, and this is what I've done in other videos too, is that I took instructions from the audience, and I'm like, hey, tell me something to do with the camera, from the audience, and the audience members would tell me something to do. I would move the camera. I've actually live streamed on YouTube from my cell phone while I was recording from the transmission lines, and drove it all the way to a coffee shop all during the live stream, uploaded it while the live stream was still going on. So, I mean, I've gone out of my way, seriously, ridiculously gone out of my way to show that my observations are indeed authentic. So for anyone to actually believe that somehow I've manipulated the videos, they're just crazy. I mean, at this point, you have to just be practicing personal incredulity, and there's nothing else about it because there's absolutely no chance that I could have done that. Let's see what else has been going on in here. The thing keeps bouncing around real quick. Let's see. Sally, did you read my comment I made on your last video? I probably did, Terry. Sometimes I'll be reading comments and more comments will come in and I'll miss comments, so I'm not sure. Probably did. I mean, we can go look at it here in a second. Let's see. Speaking of, so we were talking about 8 inches per mile squared and how flat earthers misapply that all the time. That is another stupid comment that they make all the time. Based on the globe earth math of 8 inches per mile squared. Well, let me explain to you what that is, okay? 8 inches per mile squared, it's not a circle. That's not the graph of a circle. It's the graph of a parabola. And So it's an estimate. It's an estimate over a certain amount of distance. I can't remember the exact distance. I think somebody at one time said 100 miles or something. So it's an estimate, number one. Number two, it does not take the atmosphere into consideration. So refraction is not included in that calculation. Number three, that calculation is basically a simplification of a more complex obstruction height calculation. And there's a couple different ways you can create an obstruction height formula. I did it one time. I have a video where I actually went from scratch, just like okay, I'm just going to go from scratch, not look at anything else, just draw it on a piece of paper and just use algebra and trig and see if I can figure this out for myself without looking at anybody else's. And the formula I come up with is unique. It's not the one that other people use for obstruction height, but it provides the same values. And that's the key there. I've developed a formula that from scratch using my own methodology, and it provides the correct values of obstruction height, of course, not taking refraction into consideration. And the obstruction height calculations are not 8 inches per mile squared. 8 inches per mile squared is a special case of the obstruction height calculation. And that special case is, and it's an estimate and it's a special case. And that special case is when you are at 0 height. So the observer has to be at 0 height, which means literally your eye is half submerged under the ground or half submerged under the water. That's 0 height. So the obstruction you see in that case, that's when 8 inches per mile squared comes into play. But what you have flat earthers do is they say, there should be, 1,000 feet hidden right here. And then they take the observation from 400 feet or 300 feet, that's what they do. That's the type of games they play. They don't have rigorous methodology. They don't actually hold themselves to any type of discipline. They basically just try and manipulate. And I have to believe that people that are doing that, using 8 inches per mile squared at this point, that they're doing it because they're either extremely ignorant or they are intentionally trying to deceive you. So just don't fall for that, because it doesn't make sense. There's obstruction height calculators, and you can look at how I developed my formula. You can go use my spreadsheet if you want to. The obstruction height is completely different than 8 inches per mile squared. We're going to go look at Terry. Let's see, Terry. Let's look at the last video real quick. Let's see real quick. My channel. Videos. Nope, that's this video. That's stupid. Okay, this one here. And let's see. Comments. Terry. Wow, there's a lot more comments here than there were. Holy crap. Yeah, I probably did miss some comments then. Terry. Hi, Sally. Next video, could you show the drop by leaving the camera level before zoom? What does that mean? You want to see like the horizon below center frame? I guess that's what you're asking for there. Let me come back to the chat over here and see. Terry. Okay, I'm going to just assume that's what you mean, that you want to see the horizon below center frame. Leveling the camera, that would take some work, actually. I would have to zoom all the way out and then take a very short distance. I would have to observe I would have to figure out a methodology for actually leveling the camera and making sure that it's level visually. So I'd have to somehow line up the camera exactly. The center of the camera has to be at the exact same height as like a ruler, maybe 20 or 30 feet away at full zoom. And then I could do something like that. That would take a little bit of work. I'd have to figure that out, because how do I make sure that the ruler is at the correct height? Yeah, that would be difficult, to be honest, to get it exactly level. Now, the P900 did have an artificial horizon feature. So, of course, it's only accurate within like a couple degrees. So it's even then, you know, you're talking about less than we're talking about fractions of a degree for, you know, the distance between the horizon and center frame. You know what I'll do is I'll reference you to Jesse Kozlowski's video on Lake Pontchartrain measurements, because he actually took pictures through a theodolite. So in that case, you do see the line above the horizon for the same exact observation. It's actually a better observation on that day because we had clearer scene conditions. So Jesse Kozlowski's video on that would be very good. And I think that video is called, maybe Lake Pontchartrain measurements, Jesse. Yeah, here it is. This video here by Jesse Kozlowski. That's almost the exact same observation. There's a causeway over here. Here's the Marriott right there. It's hard to see, but it's right there. And then I actually took some pictures through the theodolite the day before that. So I have some pretty cool observations on that day as well through theodolite. I'll have to go find those. I think I have some on Twitter, actually, if I remember, in my media. Okay, so back to what other people were asking, because I went off on a tangent for Terry's stuff there. Let's see. Chris sent me another message on Discord. Let me look, Chris. Oh, Chris wants me to just kind of read this stuff. Looks like a history of stupidity. Yeah. Yeah, Chris, I want to think about how, I don't like referencing those guys because it brings them attention. But yeah, I agree with you. This would be a good thing to do. Maybe I could do one video on it. But just without mentioning the guy, there is one guy that has like a history of stalking me. He hates my observations because they completely destroy his fantasy. So there's this history of him just stalking all my observations, but he's made some really stupid claims over the past. And let me just read some out that Chris has sent here. During the new moon, the moon phases behind the sun. The moon passes behind the sun and blocks its light from another unidentified source of illumination behind both. Yeah, that's completely ridiculous. The moon passes behind the sun. I mean, just making that claim, he also claimed during that period of time that Earthshine wasn't a real thing, that you couldn't capture Earthshine during a new moon. And of course, during a normal new moon, you can't capture Earthshine because the sun is right next to the moon in the sky. Like literally, you have to be staring in the direction of the sun, and then you're trying to capture Earthshine on the moon, which is way less, way dimmer, of course, than the sun. So yeah, your camera can't do that, and plus the atmosphere is completely washed out all the sunlight, so the atmosphere is blue. So you have to stare through the atmosphere to get to the moon. It doesn't make any sense. Now, what would be cool is if the moon passed in front of the sun, because if the moon passed in front of the sun, then you would have a new moon, and you can actually capture Earthshine, and we call that an eclipse. And that's exactly what I did. I actually captured Earthshine during the eclipse on 2 different cameras, and that is a new moon. So yeah, it's actually been done, and even though he claims it can't be done. Stars, including unidentified ones, can be seen through a solar filter. That's another claim that this guy has made. I mean, that's just ludicrous. Put a solar filter on your camera and see what you can capture with it. You can't capture stars. It's absurd. Put a solar filter on your camera and try and capture the moon. I mean, come on, guys. Professional photographer Stephen Cheatley specifically tried to capture Earthshine during the last solar eclipse and failed. Cheatley denies this and said he never tried to capture it at all. Yep. Earthshine is a trap he set up for Soundly to fall into, and it isn't a thing. Soundly just made it up. Yeah. He's saying that I made up Earthshine. This guy literally said that I made up Earthshine. Like, dude, do you know how many people have captured Earthshine? I didn't make it up. And anyway, you can see Earthshine with your eyes just after a new moon. Whenever there's just a sliver, basically, you can see it. So like 1/3 moon, go out when it's like 1/3 moon, you can see it with your eyes. Snell's law does not apply to the Earth's atmosphere. Wow, I didn't hear him say that. That's retarded. Refraction has a negligible effect in all cases, but Soundly's bendy towers are caused by refraction. Yes, yes. All JPEG photos should be summarily dismissed because they are not evidence. Yes, he said if your image was not a raw image, so some type of raw format, then it has to be dismissed, which is completely absurd. You can take raw images and manipulate them the same way you can a JPEG. The question is the image authentic or not? And unless you can come up with some evidence for it not being authentic, then you have to assume it is, which it is. I mean, I take pictures with my cell phone all the time of my kids and my family and stuff like that. And those, I never say those images are fake. They look right to me. Soundly's bending tower is an illusion caused by electrolysis. So that was Ranty. Ranty did that. He wasn't an idiot. Perspective convergence causes objects to distort from the bottom up. Nobody says perspective convergence except for flat earthers. I mean, and it makes no sense. I've already addressed that. Soundly created a CGI bird and placed it on one of the CGI towers. Yeah. These are so silly. The claims that they make are so silly. And I used to, these guys would make objections to the transmission lines, and anytime I thought, okay, that's a legit objection, I'd just go back out and refilm. And for a while there, I was doing it like it seemed like almost every day. I was driving down to New Orleans, which is not, it's close, but it's not that close to do it every day. And so, yeah, I just met objection after objection after objection, painting them into a corner, further and further into a corner until they had to start making up absurd things like electrolysis to explain my observations, which is ridiculous. All right, there's a whole bunch more in there. I can't read them all. It'll take forever. Let me see what everybody else is saying over here. Yes, Chris, it was appropriate. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sending me that stuff. I was thinking more along the lines of just the simple things, simple claims that they make every day that, and some of these are definitely like that, but the simple claims they make every day that just are completely absurd, like perspective is responsible for causing things to look like they're sinking. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Trying not to put too much talkity talk in there without going to somebody else. Fabio, hello. Thanks for stopping by. Sally, my 2 cents seems like a fun guy to invite in. My 2 cents. Is he in here? Oh, my 2 cents. My 2 cents, flat earther. Yeah, I'm not really into that right now. And ball girls, what do you say? And ball girls never block anybody. Ha ha ha. Yeah, typically ballers don't block somebody unless they're being like just overtly offensive or abusive. But I generally don't block anybody. My moderators on YouTube have blocked people on my behalf, and I usually go and clean those out from time to time. But like Twitter. Let's look at Twitter, for example. Let's see my account. Let's see who I blocked on Twitter. Where is this? Where would it be? Settings and privacy. Profile. Lists. Where do I find my block list? Let's see. Block list on Twitter. Okay, where is? What? Blocked account settings. Accounts you're blocking. You've blocked these accounts. You will not see their tweets in your timeline. Additionally, blocked accounts cannot follow you or view your profile while logged into Twitter. Learn more about blocking. You aren't blocking any accounts. Amazing. Go figure. You know why? You know why I don't block anybody? Because the people that actually need to see my information, the people that actually can be helped by seeing the truth, actual evidence, are the flat earthers. So why would I block them? And yes, they're abusive, and yes, they're obtuse, and yes, they say a lot of stupid stuff. But you know how many people have actually come to me and said, you know what? Thank you for continuing to put your information out there. You know, I used to be a flat earther, and these people I talked to, they were abusive to me at some point. But who cares? I mean, does everybody have like this sensitive skin these days? Like, you can't take a insult? Like, really? People can insult you. It's okay. You know, that's their opinion. It doesn't change who you are. Don't take it so seriously. You know, if you're getting insulted, just suck it up and deal with it. And I mean, why you even have a problem? So what? They're just that's them. It's not you. I don't understand why people get so upset, to be quite honest. Now, defamation is a whole nother thing. You know, personal attacks like defamation or abuse, you know, true abuse, like, you know, um, you know, acting like a Nazi, or, you know, saying that you're going to true death threats, you know, saying you're going to kill them or tell them to go kill themselves or something like that. You know, that type of stuff is uncalled for, right? You know, those type of people, yeah. You know, I would say there's legit reasons to block those type of people. And there are, you know, horrible people out there. I mean, we know the world we live in. So yeah, in some cases, it's legit to block some people when they're just being abusive and defamatory. Those type of things. I've talked to my moderators. My moderators know this. And, you know, the rules are basically, if they're defamation is pretty much an automatic block. If you're going to, I like giving people warnings. You know, tell them, look, defamation is not okay on my channel, because it is kind of the norm for social media. So I kind of expect people to do it from time to time. They'll say something like, "Oh, he's a liar. All of his stuff's fraud." Blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. But if they persist at defamation over and over again, and they're actively lying to people, those type of people are cancerous. They need to be blocked. In my opinion, their accounts should be shut down. But of course, social media isn't going to do that. Now, if people are actually giving death threats, or they're telling people to go and harm themselves, those people should also be blocked, lose their channels, whatever. There's just no excuse for that. You know, here it really comes down to this: what's the evidence say? How does the evidence speak to us? What does the evidence say? And the evidence says the Earth is a globe. Obviously so. I mean, it's so obvious that to continue to be a flat earther after you've been shown the obvious evidence of a globe, at that point, it's okay for people to call you a moron. You know, when I say your argument is wrong, and it's so wrong, obviously so wrong, because of this evidence, I have disproven your argument. Now, you continuing to believe that argument after you've been proven wrong makes you a moron, and that is not ad hom. That's just the truth. Ad hom is saying your argument is wrong because you're a moron, which is not what I do. I say your argument is wrong, so obviously so. that you are a moron. And that's completely different than ad hom. Now, what flat earthers do is ad hom, for the most part. All right. I am way behind on this here. I'm trying to catch up, guys. Pete Shea, one of my favorite people. Thanks for joining the chat, Pete. I'm sure it's going to get entertaining. What is going on here? Man, there's a lot of people chatting now. It's getting hard to keep up with here. I think I was here. What camera do you have? I have the P900, P1000, and a Sony A7 that I attached to my Schmidt-Cassegrain 2032 millimeter telescope. Those are my cameras. I also have a Canon Rebel, but I don't use it too much anymore. Yes, Terry Davis already addressed that one. Leveling the camera, actually getting it perfectly level to where it's exactly level for 24 miles is a very difficult task. That's why theodolites were invented. So you can have that type of precision. Doing that with the P900 or P1000 would be extremely difficult, just because of the lens. It's called lens droop. As you move the lens out, the lens actually changes the angle of the camera slightly, and they also have stabilization. I think there's a way to turn the stabilization off, but the stabilization would also kind of shift the like what you're actually seeing inside of the frame, so you don't really know exactly where with respect to level it is. It would take some work to do. It might be possible. I'll have to look into it, think about it. Area 85 Restorations made a pretty good graphic on this subject and made a YouTube video if you want to check it out. I would love to see a graphic like that. Area 85 Restorations. I'm going to temporarily give you moderator status so you can link the video for everybody else to look at. And don't abuse that moderator status, because if you do, you will be quickly removed as a moderator. Hey guys, all my subscribers, go check out Conspiracy Cats if you haven't already. I'm sure most of my subscribers know who Conspiracy Cats is already, but if you don't, go check him out. It's really fun stuff, really fun content. Love it. Have I seen the images of Hayabusa 2? I'm not even familiar with what Hayabusa 2 is. Wow, I need to go check this out. That looks awesome. Jax, Jax, their photography, like if you look at Himawari, right? It's the access that they provide to the public and how they make it accessible easily is great, man. And like for some reason, what's the one I'm looking for? 16. What's the name of the satellite, guys? The Ghost 16. Look at the Ghost 16 stuff. It's hold on one second. All right, so Ghost 16. The photography is awesome, but the interface is just not as cool as Himawari's. Go see image viewer. This can't be it. I thought I saw a different one. Yeah. Anyway, Himawari's is still the coolest web interface. How did they not standardize on this? Somebody should have said, "Hey, how did you guys do that?" and then they did it. You know, this real-time web, this Himawari real-time web, dude, this interface is awesome. It's a little laggy at times, but I mean, the imagery that you can get out of it is really cool. Turn this all the way off. Off. There we go. I mean, the imagery you can get out of it is really daggum cool. And the Himawari images are 11,000. The raw images are 11,000 by 11,000. Not this web version, but you can get the raw images. They're 11,000 by 11,000 resolution. I mean, we're talking about super high resolution. You can see like trails of boats on the ocean. It's that high resolution. You know, you're talking, what's that, like 100-meter resolution or something? I don't know exactly what it is, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Especially being able to see the whole disk. I mean, we're not talking about a low Earth orbit satellite. We're talking about geostationary, a long ways away. Anyway, let's go back. I'm going to go check that out, Fabio. Thanks for pointing me at it. Fritz, Soundly, you can use the water hose method. Use a clear U-shaped tube filled with water and have it so the water level. Ah, yes. That's a really good idea, Fritz. I've seen that video. There's a flat earther that actually did the, let's see, water level horizon flat earth. Go to YouTube. This is not the one I was thinking of. Let me try and find one here. Just looked at this the other day. Here it is. This one right here. J Mac. This guy. Is this the original guy? Yeah. I think this is him. So go check out this video. It's really cool. It's a flat earther, and he built this contraption to where he put these two containers, basically the same height above the ground, and or he tried to get as close as possible, the same height above the ground. But you see how they're connected by this hose right here, so that guarantees that the water level, right, is the same in each one of those. And so all he has to do is line up those two edges right there, and that's a horizontal line to where he's located. And all of his observations show that the horizontal line goes over the top of the horizon. So the horizon does not rise to eye level, proven by a flat earther, J Mac, October 1st, 2017. So this is over a year ago, or about a year ago, I should say. And it's under a year, but about a year ago, he did this video right here, and we're still talking about it. We still have flat earthers that will still claim that the horizon rises to eye level. Now, a lot of the more savvy flat earthers have kind of like migrated away from that and started saying, yeah, of course the horizon drops, but it drops because of perspective or refraction or whatever they come up with. So basically, we're starting to make observations that do in fact validate what the expectations of our globe model are. And then you put those two together and they go, oh, well, yeah, but we have reasons for why a flat plane can look exactly like a globe, and they're magical, and we don't know how it works, but it does. Just trust us. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to kind of scroll through until I see something. How have you proven the ground beneath your feet moves 1 iota soundly? Fisheye, you can do this by weighing weights. And you know who does that is Wolfie. Let's see. Wolfie 6020 weight. Let's see. Is it weight latitude? There it is. This video right here, does weight change with latitude? So what Wolfie does is he takes this weight. Let's move forward. He takes this weight. He calibrates his scale at a certain latitude based on this weight right here. And then he leaves his scale at the same calibration and goes to a different latitude and then remeasures that same weight. And the weight changes. And the weight changes predictably based on the globe. And why does it change? It changes because there's less centrifugal force at higher and lower altitudes, at different altitudes. So if you start on the equator and you keep going north, your weight changes. You get heavier as you go north. Get lighter. You get lighter all the way back down to the equator, and then you start getting heavier as you go south because there's less centripetal force. Is it centripetal? Centrifugal. Centrifugal force, less centrifugal. I always get those mixed up. Gotta look it up every time. I think it's centrifugal. Yeah, less centrifugal force. Yeah, I think that's the right one. And centripetal is the one that works on the tangent, or works in the opposite direction. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, rambling. That's how, Fisheye. It's been proven. Oh, also, Fisheye. If we weren't rotating, let's say we were in fact stationary, and we're looking out at the sky that's rotating around us, I have a question for you. How far out do you have to get before the objects on that outer edge are moving faster than the speed of light? That's my question for you. Because every experiment that we've done on Earth shows that there is a universal speed limit, which we call the speed of light. And when you try and push mass faster than that speed, it requires an infinite amount of energy to make it go faster than the speed of light. You can never make mass go faster than the speed of light. That has been demonstrated over and over, multitudes of experiments, and every single day in the Large Hadron Collider. Okay? You cannot make mass go faster than the speed of light. So tell me how these objects out in space are moving faster than the speed of light, Fisheye. It's not possible. So the only other option that is mathematically equivalent is that we are in fact spinning. And of course, centrifugal force also proves that based on this experiment that I showed you from Wolfie. So yeah, we are spinning. The Earth is a globe. We have all the evidence, and you guys don't. You guys make observations. You can't even get past those observations to form a model, and that is quite literally the first step. You have to get a collection of observations together, and then you have to generalize those observations, and then you have to form a model that you can test. That's how formal reasoning works. Otherwise, you're just running down the rabbit hole and there's no basis for your belief system. Okay. Thanks for stopping by, Pete. I love thrashing you. My 2 cents, the P900 and the P1000 will both do the same thing when you view things far away. They will distort what you actually see by compressing and squishing everything and unsoundly knows it. Actually, my 2 cents, no. Telephoto lenses have the least amount of distortion than any other lenses. That is a known fact. I've also taken the P900 and taken a photograph of a grid. Let me find it. Let's see. Is it in here? Lake Pontchartrain Series 1. Which, by the way, I've given people links to these folders before. They're all out there for anybody to look at. I have my raw imagery in a lot of them. This one has the grid. Here it is. Here it is. Here's the grid. And I end up overlaying this grid at some point. Oh, this is my Canon. This is my Canon. Okay. So that's just the first series. So where's the second series? Is this it? Yeah. Here we go. overlaid it in one of these. This is the grid photo. So this is a grid photo taken by P900 at full zoom. Distortion is not responsible for the curvature. Sorry, buddy. Already disproven. A long time ago. Like, way long time ago. That's what's so frustrating with these guys. They never keep up. I mean, dear Lord. Stop listening to 4-hour hangouts every day and actually go do some research. Actually go do some work for yourself. That would be interesting if you did that, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to go, oh crap, whenever I take a picture of a grid at full zoom with a P900, there's no distortion. So how can it be responsible for images like this? You see? You see your problem here? Yeah, I think everybody else sees your problem here. I'm sure you'll deny it. All right, my 2 cents. I'm glad I gave some good advice, Factart. I have no idea what it was. Hey, NASA, thanks. Thanks for telling people to subscribe. Yeah. I like word of mouth. That's the best way to do it. Pizza Earth, pancakes, and other mashed potatoes. Trying to explain flat Earth to a blurfer is frustrating. What? Jose, I really appreciate your attitude, man. I do. I appreciate it. Soundly, Pete Shea is asking for join in Hangout. Please help him. Yeah, I don't mind having Pete in here, but I'll probably do it in a different Hangout. I'll probably like restart a Hangout for just specifically for us and Pete, or me and Pete, or whatever. It's fine. I can do that, but it's going to be separate. It'll be after this. Area 85, thank you. Link to the video. Let's open it up. Okay, so here, I haven't even looked at this video. I have no idea about it, but I like what Area 85 had to say in the chat there, so go check it out. I'll subscribe and take a look at it, dude. Simon Dan in the chat. Hey, had 2 big leaguers in the chat today. Nice. Simon, love your stuff, man. Thanks for stopping by. It doesn't have to be a different day. I mean, we can do it right after this if you want. I wanted to continue like talking about some of these stupid comments. I never did get to my spam folder over here. I'm just kind of rambling, you know. It's just kind of a chill hangout. I don't know how many people actually watch it after it's up anyway, so I'm not too worried about quality at the moment. But let's go back to my spam folder. This is hilarious. Some of this stuff, some of the comments in the spam folders, man. So YouTube automatically puts some people in spam. I don't know the rules or how it works, because some of the comments I'm just like, I have no idea why this is in spam, and it's so much work to keep up with this that I cannot look at this, or I'd be looking at it every day for an hour. So let's. One thing I thought was very interesting was, you know, flat earthers are always talking about how the globe Earth is a ploy by Satan and the Masonic Illuminati space lizards from the planet Nibiru. And, you know, it's all from Satan. And then you have this guy, Flat Out Hero, who literally has put devil horns above his head. Now, this is from a Christian perspective, okay? I'll come from a Christian perspective on this one. So from a Christian perspective, flat earthers are constantly pushing this deception, this lie, this flat out disinformation, constantly. And from a biblical standpoint, that is who would be on Satan's side. Do you understand? It's like the father of lies. Hello. And here we have a guy just making himself out to be one. Wow. That's crazy. I have no idea what this video was. I just thought that I thought that avatar was hilarious. Hey Sally, you can keep producing lame, providing nothing videos trying to debunk the flat earth just to placate the 2.5K zipperheads that listen to you, or you can answer the following. What is the physical barrier that separates the vacuum of space from the non-vacuum of space? I've already addressed this earlier in the video, but I'll be happy to do it again. There is no physical barrier as in mass. There's no like dome, you know, that's encapsulating the atmosphere. If there were a dome, let's say that the flat earth ideas, concepts were correct, and there was a dome and there was no gravity, okay? You're basically talking about a tire at that point, and the atmosphere would be completely the same exact pressure everywhere if there was no gravity. That's not what we observe. Therefore, your theory is bunk. That's how reasoning works. Okay? What we observe is on the ground, we have one atmospheric pressure. And as you go up, there's a gradient that eventually gets to about zero, I mean, practically zero atmospheres of pressure. And vacuums don't suck. I don't know why you guys can't get this basic concept. Vacuums do not suck. Okay, so the vacuum of space is not going to suck atmosphere. It's zero pressure anyway. There's no pressure pushing into space. Okay, whenever you have a vacuum cleaner that actually pulls air out, or it pushes air and basically pulls air out of a particular area, or let's take a vacuum chamber, we pull air out of the vacuum chamber. What's happening is not that the vacuum is trying to suck air back into it. That's not what happens. What's happening is the atmosphere is trying to force its way into that vacuum. The atmosphere is pressing in on this void. And that's how things work. So if there's zero pressure at the top of the atmosphere, then it's not going to press into the vacuum of space. And this concept seems so simple in my mind that I can't understand why anybody would even ask this silly question. Okay. Do you honestly think these fighter jets are adjusting their altitude every few minutes to follow your imaginary curve of Earth? I think fighter jets actually change their altitude all the time based on the atmosphere they're flying through, which is not like a piece of glass or something. What do you guys think? They're just riding on a rail? Planes are constantly adjusting, constantly. Like it's a dynamic thing to fly. It's not like they just point themselves in a direction and let go of the controls. Okay, the atmosphere isn't stable. And anyway, if you actually do the math to figure out how much down they'd have to point, it's like you can't even. There's no way they even aim that. Like the plane is not that precise. Like the degree is so minuscule that just breathing on the controls would make it move that much. What is the problem with them in scale? How do they not understand these things? Look up realist satellite and space image on Google. See what you find. Is that a word? That might actually be a word. I don't think so, though. A realist? That sounds so funny. Yes, it is. Wow. It's a weird word. I don't think I've ever used it. The realist satellite and space image. Well, we have like live stream video of the Tesla. That was a satellite for a while. Pretty good. I'd say that's pretty good. We have live stream footage of the ISS, which is still a satellite of Earth. That's pretty damn good footage. We even have 360 videos of spacewalks. Let's see. 360 video from RT spacewalk. Here you go. 360 video from, I think, RT's Russian television, if I remember correctly. Look at this. Go into the comments section. It's hilarious. I bet it is. The Lonely Goomba. Who is this? 163,000 subs. Jeez, I gotta figure out who that guy is. Games. Yeah, just all games. Wow. Apparently I'm doing the wrong thing. I should be doing video games, guys. All right. So yeah, here's a 360 video of a spacewalk. You can literally pan around 360 by 360, see the space station, see the astronauts, see all their gear. I mean, the evidence is right there, guys. It's freaking overwhelming. I mean, what the heck, you know? Like, why are we even talking about this for years and years? We're talking to delusional people. It's amazing. I guess it makes for good entertainment, though, right? Alrighty then. Let's see. Area 85, thanks for the shout out. No problem, man. Soundly really enjoyed the New Orleans Bridge video. I have many of them, Mrs. J. But thanks for stopping by. I highly suggest if you're new around, Mrs. J, I don't recognize you, that you check out. It's called Truth Hammer. It's the 2017 year in review, basically, video that I did. It's got a little bit of electronic music that goes with it, but it's got a lot of observations that I did, and one of my favorite observations is the observation I made from 3 Lakeway Center, which is the 15th floor of the Marriott Hotel, and took a picture of the causeway there, and it pretty much gets the majority of the causeway in frame. It's not all of it, but it's pretty close, and it's obvious curvature, and it looks exactly like we expect it to look. Simon Dan, hey, thanks. My 2 cents. Sally just showed you that it doesn't distort. Yeah, that's what they do. It distorts. No, it doesn't. Look, here's a grid. I took a picture of it full zoom. It distorts. Just showed you that it distorts. Hey! Yeah, that's what they do. Their brains lock up when they get faced with evidence that paints them into a corner. At this point, they're just to the point where they're having to decide like what color they want their toenails to be, because I'm about to start painting their feet. They're so far up in the corner. What else is going on in the chat here? Let Grandpa Sally read some comments. Grandpa Sally will see this in the future, and he'll come back in time, probably read some comments. I'll see if he shows up. Yeah, it's time for another Grandpa Sally. Flat Earth Tears. I do agree with that. Also, Sergeant Mark. You know, I only did 2 videos of Sergeant Mark, but I really like those videos. So Sergeant Mark needs to come back around too. Just trying to think of something that's new and fresh to put in there, you know. Okay. Flat Earth equals evolutionism. What does that mean? I mean, I've actually kind of said something along those lines before. I think we actually seen our species diverge right now. I mean, there's actually flat Earth dating websites. Can you imagine if they only started breeding with each other? Oh God. Okay. What else? Let me go back to the stupid comments in my spam folder over here somewhere. Where is it? I keep losing this stuff. I'm opening up too many tabs. Yeah, this is actually a good point that somebody else brought up. This is the second person that's brought this up. But it's actually a good point. A great circle route on a flat map. There are some maps set up so that certain great circle routes are flat, are straight, but not all. That you can't have all great circle routes be straight on a flat map. That's an impossibility because it's impossible to directly map a sphere to a flat plane one-to-one. So when you actually map out a great circle route, there are going to be some places like Lake Pontchartrain where that great circle route should be curving to the left or right and not down. And it doesn't. So again, flat earthers, where's the curve? Where's the curve, flat earthers? Huh? Come on. You're not showing us your curve. Flat Earth can answer anything. I think you are wrong. And who's blocking you? Have you made this video for views? I make videos because I enjoy making videos. Getting views is fun too. Nothing wrong with that. There's no visible curve. It's amazing, isn't it? You're not likely to accept all the evidence there is. What evidence, Jay? There is none. I've looked at all the evidence. You guys claim to be evidence. There is no evidence. You don't even have a model that you can test. What practical ramifications are there for the flat Earth models? Like, you take a flat Earth model, what practical ramifications are there? What have you practically provided for the world to make the world a better place based on it being flat? Nothing. Like, what technology have you created based on a flat Earth model? None. I mean, conventional science is responsible for the computer that you're using. Logic, reason is responsible for the computer that you're using. Formal scientific reasoning, the scientific method, is how we have computers. It's how we have technology. Because people actually go out there and they think, I think this is how it works. Oh, now I can take advantage of this since we figured out how it works. And now I can build a computer. Do you not understand that? From the time of Turing, which is not that long ago, to now, we've gone from no computers to computers that are doing freaking trillions of operations per second. Like, all based on scientific method. There are practical, real world benefits to our knowledge, our scientific knowledge. Flat out hero. Speaking about dishonesty, Soundly has been dunked for almost a year already. Ha 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 ha. And he still tries to call kettles black. What a pot. And look, he's just spamming the crap out of my channel. Look at this. Wow. Okay, so I do block people that spam like this. Flat out hero, this is your warning. If you start spamming like that, I will block you. I do try to give people fair warnings, but don't spam my channel. I mean, I'm glad YouTube caught it. I'll just end up deleting all those probably. So just to address your claim that people make all the time that I've been debunked, I've never been debunked. Not one time. Adding the word debunk to a title does not make it a debunk. You actually have to do something to debunk it. You can't debunk reality. How are you going to debunk me taking a camera and photographing something and then taking that photograph and putting it out there for everybody to look at? How are you going to debunk me live streaming video over YouTube in real time? You can't debunk that. It's ridiculous. So stupid. And the only person that actually tried to do like a somewhat decent, con on debunking was his name? Dr. Zach. Well, I need to search over here. Dr. Zach Soundly. Right here. So this guy still has this video up, okay? He still has this video up that says flat earth, curved water found, debunked, right? And he talks about my observations. And now, let me get past this stupid ad. You're welcome. There's your 2 cents, Dr. Zach. Just get an ad block so I don't give you any money. Where is that? Here you go. Okay. So let's go back to where he was here. Oh, back up. Where is it? Okay. So, oh man. Where does he actually show the whole line here? Okay. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. You see that? Right there? This is what you call blatant deception. A blatant lie. And when he put this video out, this was a blatant lie. You know why it was a blatant lie? Because I have a bazillion times shown exactly what transmission lines it was, and it wasn't this one. It wasn't this set of transmission lines. So he intentionally picked the wrong transmission lines. There's no two ways about it. He either intentionally picked the wrong transmission lines, or he neglected, and like very bad neglect, like an intentional neglect, to figure out exactly what I was looking at. If you're going to debunk something, you better know what you're looking at, right? Don't just go guessing. So he got it wrong, right? And people freaking tore him apart on that. Like he got it wrong, right? So what he used to have, or he still does here, it seems like I was talking about the wrong power lines in this video. Yes, you were. And that's the whole point. The whole video after that is null. It's actually error. It's not even null. It's error. The whole video after that, his premise is that the transmission lines are curving to the right. But that's not the transmission lines I take a picture of. Transmission lines I take a picture of are not curving to the right. They're straight for about 16 miles from my observation point. So the fair thing to do at that point would be to take this video down. I mean, you were wrong. You're shown wrong. It seems to be that you're being dishonest, and then not taking the video down after you've been proven to be wrong. Now you are being dishonest, blatantly dishonest at that point. He hasn't debunked anything, but people like flat out hero, okay, those guys just buy into this BS. It's amazing. They're sheep, man. They really are sheep. I know people call people sheep all the time, but in this case, it really does apply. It's amazing how well it applies. Let's see what's going on over here. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Sounding that guy believes that scientists are lying about evolution. What guy? Oh, that's what your flat Earth equals evolution. I still don't quite follow. See Casus Belli. Okay. Flat Earth dating sites and grandpa? Oh wow. That actually would make for a good video, yeah. I need to get grandpa going. Need to wake him up from his slumber. Okay, let's go back to read some of these more stupid comments from flat earthers. There were 2 replies to Sleeping Warrior's comment before he deleted it. Mine and Dare Todd's. I got his reply in a notification and don't have you blocked. That's the reason why you could only see one reply. It's possible that my reply got caught in spam after I made a late edit to it. Edit. Todd's comment was made 3 hours ago, just like this video was, so it's also possible that you hadn't refreshed the page. Well, you are caught in spam, if then. I don't know why. Go ahead and put it there. I would love to hear how you would explain this, the salt flats. What about them? 4,086 miles of absolute flatness? Nope. Never been demonstrated ever. Actually, all the observations of the salt flats show mountains being obstructed in distance, just like the salt flats of Utah, which Tim Osmond has done. Water, no matter the size of the body, water will run down until it reaches a flat surface. Okay, so here's the thing again. These guys misunderstand down and south and north and directions and altitude. Altitude on the surface of Earth is dictated, well, in simplistic terms, basically the radius. So if you have a curved surface and the entire outside edge of that curve is all sitting on the same radius of a circle, then it's going to have the same altitude, which means there is no down on any of that surface right there. Like you can't, you just orienting part of it to be facing up on your screen doesn't make it up. You know, I mean, doesn't make it higher, I should say, than the part to the left side of your screen. Like you guys have got to start understanding what up and down are, and I think the actual term is what is it? Gravitational equal potential or something like that. Can't remember. Basically, the same altitude. If it's the same altitude, then it's not running uphill or downhill. It's all the same altitude. That's how a sphere works. That's how a globe works. Stop trying to make strawmen. Same Hancock. Concave Earth. Oh, God. That's why I got stuck in spam. There's no such thing as a video proving flat Earth. Never been made, ever. There's only propaganda. There's never been any evidence for flat Earth. Can you do a 360 next time, please? Okay, yeah. So I've actually done that with the P1000 now. Before this, it was very hard to do 360s because I had a telescope. You know, I didn't have any way to zoom in and out. Okay, I'm starting to get tired. All right. Anyway, I thought that would be a lot of fun. Hey, Timmy. Is Timmy here? I saw somebody say it to Timmy. What's going on? Trying to catch up, guys. You say someone messed with Sally's images? Who are they talking to? Yes. Grammy Houston. Yeah, he's still got the video up because he's making money on it. That's true. That's what he does. He's making money off of gullible flat earthers. That's exactly what they do. Just like Flat Earth Core. I don't know who he's responding to. I don't know who Heatshield's responding to. Dr. Z cannot research. Yeah, she's got several videos on her on her channel asking if this was Nibiru. Her video was cheated and proven it was nor faked. I don't know what that means. Okay, starting to get to the point where I'm getting hungry. I want to go eat something, starting to get tired. I'm probably going to wrap up here. My 2 cents. Why do the cars in Unsoundly's videos drive sideways? Still crickets, but the P900 doesn't distort. Ha ha ha. It's called perspective, my 2 cents. Imagine that. How ironic. Perspective is the reason that they appear to be driving sideways, but they're not driving sideways. And if you actually draw some lines on, a map, you can see why it would appear that way. Do it yourself. Stop making us do it. And here, my 2 cents. My 2 cents. Let me show you something. It's something really easy to do. Soundly. Flatter. Live stream. Causeway. How about that? See what pulls up. See what pulls up. Causeway live stream. Flatter debunk. Oh. Imagine that. 10 months ago. Wow. Let's see what happens as soon as this ad's over. Stop playing. Oh, I wish it didn't play ads for me. I don't want to get ad blocked though. I know people are going to tell me to get ad blocked. Oh, look at that. Causeway being live streamed. Huh. November 25th, 2017. Imagine that. Look, the cars are driving sideways again. Oh, God. No, what's wrong? Dude. Whatever your objections are, I've already answered them, my 2 cents. I've been doing this for over a year now. You think flat earthers have been throwing objections at me the entire time? Already answered all your objections. Go and watch my videos. Go and learn what I've already done so then you can actually make an intelligent objection. It'd be much funner that way. Whenever you make objections about things, the game, it's not as fun, The game's not as fun whenever you bring up things that I've already answered over and over again. It's crazy. Am I going with Jesse? Homestar, am I going with Jesse? No, I'm not, unfortunately. I wanted to, but I have to do a family trip at Thanksgiving this year, so I don't have the extra funds because I have to take 4 of us to California, which is not going to be cheap. Yes, I've seen SpaceX Returns from the Edge. That was a really cool video. Talk about ships over the horizon. How about first stage over the horizon? SpaceX Falcon first stage. I don't even know what to call it. The booster maybe. Soundly, show me the barge. You want to see it? I'm not. Can I show that? Isn't it copyrighted? Not sure I can show that. To be honest. I guess I could if I'm just commenting on it. Yeah, I should be able to show it. Soundly, where's Way 11 why needs to watch the barge? I thought he was the one telling me about that video. Was he? Show me the barge. Wait, he's the one? I'll pop it in. I've already seen it. It's pretty awesome video. Yeah, right here. Yeah, I mean this is evidence, obvious evidence. It's like basically boats over the horizon observation. There's the full thing. And you start here. There's the beginning of it. where it's the whole boat's missing. And then here's the full ship right here. I mean, you can't even see the bottom of the booster in the first frame. So, yeah, obvious evidence. It's all over the place. I mean, the evidence is literally all over the place, especially when the flat earthers like made a big deal about, you know, all this stuff a year ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever. It's been a long time now. I mean, people have just inundated them with a barrage of evidence, and all they do is just put up their walls and create their echo chambers and prevent their followers from seeing it, or they start inventing imaginary answers. You know, it's very fundamentalist of them, very cult-like. Have you ever seen a plane go over the horizon? It looks like it's diving straight down. Equals perspective. Yeah, the contrail looks like it's going down. The plane itself still looks like it's level at that distance. And that's what's kind of confusing to them. They don't understand perspective, so they think things should be like tilted over, but they shouldn't. It's not the geometry. now I have the P1000. Yeah. Thanks, NASA. The P1000 is definitely a better camera than the P900. It definitely outdoes the P900 significantly in a lot of areas. I mean, you got raw photography now. You have full manual video mode. I can do manual focus with the focus ring. That was a huge one to me. The manual focus with the focus ring to me is probably the best addition they added to the camera. Of course, the additional magnification. And the second best thing that they added was HDMI out live. They didn't have that on the other one. Oh, and also it's 4K. Now we got 4K. So I think the HDMI out is high def. I think it's 1080. I'm pretty sure that's true. So I can do live HDMI out. I'll be able to live stream and in high definition. It won't be 4K, but it'll still be high definition, which is pretty good for most people. I mean, unless you have a big screen TV you're watching stuff on. 4K, you don't really need 4K anyway. But yeah, it should be pretty cool stuff I can do with it. I'm looking forward to it this year, especially when things start cooling down. Give it about a month, maybe a month and a half. Should be able to start going out there when it's nice and calm. Okay, well, I just kind of rambled, and now I'm getting tired and hungry. So anyway, go check out those different videos we mentioned. And I mean, there's just so many. We've talked about this so many times. Pretty much, I can't remember the last time a flat earther actually asked me a question I hadn't heard before. Like, that's what's amazing. You know, we're getting to the point where it's so repetitive. We've already given you the answer. We've already showed you why you're wrong. Why are you repeating the same lie in the next comment thread? You know, like, it's gotten to that point where it's just to the point where, come on, guys, like, come up with something new already. The game's starting to get boring. You know, people don't want to watch it anymore because we've already addressed this stuff over and over again. It's basically come down to, you know, the whole flat Earth versus globe Earth thing has come down to mocking flat Earthers because there's nothing else to do because they keep asking the same stupid questions. How about you actually come up with something new and interesting that is worth talking about, and we can actually show some science to show why you're wrong, or engineering or observations. Oh, one thing I did want to mention to you guys, I did finally learn what the huts were. The huts are actually called utility vaults, and they have power that comes from both the north and south shore. And in the event that one of the power sources cuts out, like in a storm or hurricane or something, they fall back to the other power source. So they want to try and keep power on the bridge, even during hurricanes. They are hurricane proof. The vaults are. And they also have data. They also transport data cables. So there's fiber. Fiber goes through those huts as well. So I thought you guys might find that interesting, that I actually know what they are now. I knew they had to have something to do with utilities, but I actually read up on it and found out there was some article interviewing the general manager of the Causeway that I found. Okay, guys, going to shut down. Well, hold on, I got some more. Burr will be the P1000 What? No idea what that means. Burr will be, I have no idea. The earth is a stationary circle created by God and closed by the dome of the firmament. The space is a lie. The Holy Bible is the truth. What? No. No. This is one thing I've said before. I'm a Christian. I'm a very skeptical Christian. I'm not normal as far as Christians go, but I'm a Christian. And this is the truth. The reason that Christian apologetics exists is to show how the Bible conforms to the knowledge that we have of reality. That's why Christian apologetics exist. Okay. So if you then say that the Holy Bible predicts or describes a flat earth, if that's how you want to interpret it, the only thing you've done is discredit the Bible at that point. That's the only thing you've done, because the observations of reality, in fact, show a globe. We know it's a globe. It's not a question. It's not a debate. We have pictures of it from space. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. So it is a globe. So if you want to maintain that the Bible is a credible source of information, then you have to show how the Bible also talks about the earth being a globe, or you have to say the Bible's talking metaphorically, one or the other, or it's talking from the perspective of the people at the time, or something like that. You can't consolidate flat earth with the Bible and reality. You can't. So all you're doing is discrediting the Bible, the Bible that you claim to be the truth, beyond all truth. You're discrediting it by saying that it supports the flat earth. That's all you're doing. Sorry, that's the truth. Oh, Costas Belli said that. Yeah, I didn't think you were saying that, Fabio. I was kind of confused. Sound like some guy is going to find the edge in 4 days. Your thoughts? There's always like these veiled threats, Jose, that they throw out there. Some guy's going to find the edge in 4 days. He's not going to find the edge. He's going to go film some ice shelf or something and say it's the edge. I mean, when you look south, okay, if you look at the flat earth model, let's talk about the flat earth model real quick. Let's see. Flat earth model. Let's see. I can find a picture of it real quick. Just find any one of these that could work. Here we go. This will work. No, that's a terrible picture. Let me go back. Let me find images. Let's see. That looks like a good one. Let's talk about this one. Okay. So let's say that I'm right here in Australia, right? About right here. And I'm looking south at the southern, man, I'm getting tired. Jeez. At the, what is it? Southern celestial pole. Why couldn't I think of that? My freaking brain froze up for a second. And I'm looking here, I'm looking south at the same pole. Those are different directions, but they're the same star. Doesn't work. You know, the stars completely debunked this model. It's completely debunked. So he's not going to go find edge. There is no edge. He's going to find some ice shelf and say it's an edge. And all the flat earthers are going to jump on the bandwagon and praise him. And they're going to give him 50,000 subs and give him a bunch of revenue and Patreon money. And they're going to be conned. They're going to be conned. Nobody's going to find the edge. There's people down there right now on the South Pole. There's scientists down there year round. They're there all the time. There's people that take solo missions across the ice. What was the guy's name? Solo across. Ben Saunders. So Ben Saunders was doing it. He had to abandon it. Let's see. Yes, Ben Saunders ended his attempt after 52 days after being left without enough food to complete the quest. But this guy right here went and filled out the paperwork, tried to do it himself. He went by himself to cross Antarctica. Couldn't do it because it's hard by yourself. But anybody can do this. You see what I'm saying? Like anybody can do what Ben Saunders said he wanted to do. They can go and fill out the paperwork, get the permits, and they can try and cross Antarctica. They can do that. Anybody can. So, flat earthers, go do it. Go do it. There's nothing stopping you. There's no penguin army down there stopping you. Anybody can go. That's what this should tell you. You understand? I'm going to have to look up Casus Belli, I guess. I'll look it up. I'll look it up as soon as we're done here. Soundly, I am from the imaginary place called Australia. I am on leave at the moment from training penguins down at the ice wall. Well, tell Bob I said, hey, Terry. Okay? Tell him he still owes me some money from that poker game. Robert Schwartz is there at Pole for the 14th winter. There's a number of people that are in our channels. Guy's View. I think Guy's View has 2 different channels, but Guy's View is one of them. He works down there. He goes down there all the time. He comes back with amazing videos like 24-hour sun. It's just there's people down there all the time, dude. Man, it's ridiculous for people to say it's not. And the Australian flat earthers, I don't understand how it's even possible. That makes no sense to me. Yes, I can. My 2 cents. Yes. We, like I said, my 2 cents, you're like way, way behind. This feels like 2 years ago, the questions you're asking. You still can't answer for the lack of motion of the Earth orbiting the sun and star trails. Yeah, we can. All the stars that you see are in the same galaxy. They're all moving basically the same direction in the galaxy. We're all moving relative to that same motion. We're all tracking. Okay. So you do see stars change. Like they do change over time. They are moving, but they're moving so little because they're so far away. But regardless, all the stars that you see with your eyes, that you can see with your naked eyes when you walk outside at night, those are all in our galaxy. That's what you're seeing. You know, I think the furthest thing that you can actually see with your naked eyes is another galaxy. And even it is moving relatively the same as us, like as far as where it is in the night sky. And that's the whole thing. You guys have it backwards. Like we observe that the stars are moving relative to us. That's what we observe. So we know that. So then it makes no sense to conclude that you should see them streaking across still a 30-second long exposure. That what? Makes no sense because we already know, okay, if we start with We can look out there and tell the stars are like just moving along with us. So why would you think that they're streaking? So you guys have it backwards. You guys have this imaginary straw man idea of what the stars should be doing, moving at 67,000 miles per hour, blah, 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 blah. Dude, we're all moving relative to one another. So it's all like relative motion around the center of the galaxy. And the amount of time it takes to actually rotate around, we're talking about 100,000 light years. You know, we're talking about scales that are so far away, so big, that just knowing you can't move faster than the speed limit, you realize that it's going to take a long time to see any noticeable changes because they're just that far away. Another horribly ridiculous answer. That is the answer, you moron. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you don't like it. So, I'm going to call it names because I don't like it. Oh, my tears. Oh. That's all you flat earthers do is just cry because you don't like how things make sense. It just makes sense. It all works. The model works. No, you can't tell if they're moving with us. Yes, you can. You look. It's really that simple. That's what's so bizarre with you guys. Just look. Measure it. You can tell if the stars are moving with us. Yes, you can tell that. You can tell that they're that it's relative motion. You can absolutely tell that. That's what astronomers do. They look, they measure, they say, "Oh, look, this is how things are moving." This, you guys, it's like things that are too big a scale for you. Numbers that are too big, you for some reason think they don't just move around like things that move around every day in our regular lives. Like what? You just look at it, man. It's crazy. It is a mental health issue for real. My 2 cents is the same as driving down the highway. You're all going 50 plus, but the cars ahead aren't zooming away from you. Yeah. It's not a wrong answer, my 2 cents. The stars that you see with your naked eye are all in our galaxy. They're all moving with us, spinning around the center of the galaxy. And that's happening very slowly compared to our perception. That is the correct answer. That's what's happening. It's not even an answer. It's what you look out there and see. You can just look and see. You can take a telescope, point it, and go, I'm going to take a picture every night at this angle and see what happens. Like, yeah, Floyd, he probably is trolling. You're probably right. Yeah. Fabio, okay, I know. I'm going to look at Casus Belli. What? Why do I? This must be something funny. Okay, let's see. What is Casus Belli? Is this Casus Belli? No, it's got to be on YouTube. Casus Belli. Okay. Saw it in the about. Yep, there it is. Yeah, that's exactly what he was saying. He is. Oh, 2 weeks ago, the Go Fast thing? Really? Oh, this guy is so far behind. Wow. Wow, this guy is so far behind. I did a whole video on this Go Fast thing I did this video like 6 or 7 months ago because another guy was talking about Go Fast. I'm like, this has been debunked ages ago. And then I did another debunk, and now this is even ages later, and they're still talking about the Go Fast rocket. Oh, it's amazing, dude. It is amazing how these guys repeat the same nonsense over and over. Yeah, propaganda 101, I guess, right? Just keep repeating it till people believe it and pay you money. That's all they're doing. They're just propagandizing. And then they get people that start to actually believe it, right? And those people come and start making these videos because this guy obviously isn't monetized. So he's just making videos for why? He's just part of the overwhelming propaganda scheme or what? You had these little channels pop up left and right that just start reproducing, or they basically steal other people's work and ideas, clip it all together, and they're into a new compilation, and start putting these videos out, and they're all this go fast thing has been debunked for I don't know. It's been a couple of years, seems like long time. Go fast didn't hit any dome. It's so stupid. So stupid. That's all they have. Yep. All they have is propaganda. That's correct. This is my 2 cents guy. So what happened to old Pete? I don't see him around anymore. He must got bored. Well, I've already had Fisheye on before. It's fun. It's funny. But it's Fisheye's old news. He just blah, 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 words, words, words. Yes, the yo-yo D-spin device. Yes, I first learned about yo-yo D-spins with GoFast as well. Pate LaRose, I'd be happy with working flat Earth map. You'd be happy with a working. Yeah, there's no such thing. There never will be. That's what you learn with topology. Now, I'm not a topology expert. I just briefly touched on it in one of my, I think it was some type of math class. I can't remember, back in college, so long ago now. But yeah, with topology, you learn that there are certain shapes that can't be perfectly mapped to other shapes. One of those things is the sphere cannot be perfectly mapped to a flat surface, which means if you have a model that's made out of a sphere, right? If you have a spherical model that has a coordinate system on it that works for everything you see in the real world, which is what we do have, then that right there by itself, based on the knowledge we have of topology, means that there cannot be a flat map that ever works. It can't. It's impossible. So just that alone debunks flat Earth, that we have a working model that does work, and you can navigate with it perfectly. That by itself debunks flat Earth, just because of how topology works. How morphing a sphere into a flat plane will always result in distortion. Period. There's no way around it. Yeah. Okay. I need to take off anyway. I've just been goofing around here in the chat. So guys, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to bail out, get some lunch, and catch up with you guys later. Thanks.